Alright, hi people. I have decided to just click record. I haven't got much of a plan for this one, but what I have done is really planned the information inside this video. So I just want to let you know, I apologize that I am not king editor, right? And the people that work with me, we have our roles, we do our thing, all right? But what's not our forte is advanced video editing. I would have loved to have had deeper advancements of edits for stuff like this, because you see the title of the video, there's no shadowing it unless you haven't seen the title and you've just got an up next playlist. Today, I am going to give you my opinion of the top 10 countries in the world of beatbox. I'll explain what that means and I'll give you my ranking. There would be really cool video editors and edits out there where I could get a little compilation of beatboxers from the countries. Maybe I can get that in here a little bit. Maybe I can get some lists on the screen. Like, that'd be cool. Listen, I either don't make the content or I make it in a basic way. Again, I'm no editing pro. It's not, just let me sleep in that. Right, let me beatbox world class. I'll do that. Right. But what I have done and what the effort has gone into is making sure that this is my accurate opinion. So here's what this means. Anyone across the world, if you're watching this, I am trying to inform you of all the countries in the planet, 250 something or however many there are. Could probably name you 90% of them. Geographical whiz. I'm going to tell you the 10 that are the best. From 10 to 1. Now, there's layers to this game. If you are a deep community member, you might have your own opinion. You might know your own answer. If you are an extremely casual viewer of beatbox or new to my channel, let alone beatbox, then you won't know anything. So I'm excited to tell you that. There isn't an actual objective list. That's why this is interesting. And at the end of it all, just remember this is my opinion. That's all. But my opinion comes from quite a bit of beatbox history. I've been kicking around for a while. And not only that, I think I'm balanced with my decisions. So it's not the best in the past. It's not the best this current day, battle scene, whatever it might be. The best way that I'll describe this metric is take a country, take all their beatboxers, put them in a room and compare that to all the other countries. So it will include many things like artistry, battling. Have they got legends? Have they wrote history in beatbox? Whatever it might be. That's how I'm going to do this. A whole balance of everything. But I have got my 10 in order and I'm fairly certain. You can never be that accurate. I've never been to El Salvador. I don't know what the scene's like, you know? But the first source of information is the internet, the web, and there is some manifestations. And I've been to a lot of countries for beatbox, so I can share those opinions. So here we have it. There is a country that very narrowly missed out. I'll give you that honourable mention later. But I'm sure this is a fun video. This is fun for the beatbox nerds. I'll tell you that much. And hopefully this is fun for the more casual viewer. So, in 10th place, the 10th best country for beatbox, I have Turkey, aka Turkey, aka Christmas Turkey. This is an extremely surprise wildcard inclusion to my list. And I actually had them a little higher, but I balanced all the factors in mind. This is why they're 10th. So, they don't really have much iconic legacy, no legendary history. In fact, their first national competition was last year. I was a judge. I performed there. They have got some really good online presence through the years. But when I watched their national championships last year, I got on stage at the end and told their community that is the best national competition I've ever seen. It was absolutely ridiculous. They all battle hard. They all have a major variety. They all kill it on the stage. And like I'm telling you, it was just my experience in person there. Anyone else on the panel with me? Come and back me up in the comments. Come on, where are you at? It was absolutely insane. I looked at the countries below that were challenging the top 10, and no, if the beatboxers from Turkey stepped up and battled them right now, you're not having fun. Turkey is ridiculous. Their beatbox is extreme. They are extremely passionate. I was very, very, very impressed, and a lot of originality too. Notably, some of the ones to note are the Champ, Vilbus, there's Lexo Mafo, there's Souls, there's Ajar, there's even like Pleo or Rioni or OG more Slugs. And there's more, like, trust me, there's more. And don't cry at me. I'm sorry I didn't say everything. I won't say everything. I will miss major names. It's impossible to say it all. But I couldn't put them lower, not when the best national champs I've ever been to is in Turkey. So that's number 10. If it was current beatbox right now, it might be higher. Now, I've had some serious depth about this one, and fair play to them. Number 9, Belgium. Fair play to the Belgiques. I've just got to say, the pack and punch quality per beatboxer in that country. Right, and just to be honest, it's a tiny little dot. It is so small. I've actually been there in Belgium at a beatbox event, but that didn't really source my entire opinion because it was an international competition and I did awful. But for the tiny little country that is Belgium, they pack a serious punch. So notably Footbox G, I think their best candidate. This is 2025, by the way. Things have changed if you're watching this in 2035, obviously. This is just to this date. Footbox G, he can go toe to toe with basically every beatboxer. He is a monster. And then you have, after that, a serious handful of beasts. I'd say Big Ben, G-Wiz, Stan, Supernova. When you take away the top 1 or 2 from most countries, you don't want to bat these guys I've just said. They are going to take your guys on. They are beasts. They are battle beasts. And not only that, they have a rich history too. So they're currently high skilled. They have an extended further depth of beatboxers, but they have modern old school in Big Ben. They have Fatty K. They have Primitive. Go even further back and they've got one of the most early icons in Roxaloops. Belgium is the real deal. And if you've got this far into the vid, you should be able to give some respect to the integrity of my thought. I'm thinking quite deep with it all, but I didn't think Belgium were top 10. I'll be honest, I didn't. Especially when I think of the ones that didn't make it. But it's just the pack and punch, the pound for pound power that these few have. It's impressive. They also have like Dawood or Bonzo, is it? And more, of course. I'm not going to go into YouTube and all that. I want to keep this natural in my brain. Even Yasweed, Loop Station artist, but I've heard him do a 1 or 2. He could beatboxer too, actually. So yeah, for that reason, Belgium I have placed in 9th place, and that is so impressive when you look at the size of the country and the population. But it's just inevitable. The beatbox is crazy from their country. Fair play to them. Right, over in 8th. A country that I didn't have in the top 10 until I remembered them and went, oh yeah, Chile, number 8. They're mad. Like, whoa. Seriously, there's so many good ones from there. Straight off the top of the dome, we've got Mr. Android and Thomas Acre. Then we've got Wally, we've got Zifire, we got Xbit, and then we just got a whole surplus of freaks. On and on and on, Inferno. But there's just more and more, and they're just non-stop, and there's loads of them. Chile is definitely a powerhouse country in South Africa for beatbox. Man, so much talent in one country, in one long strip. Man, they're mad. Just off the beatboxers I named there, that's enough. Now, again, if I was gonna nerd this video, I could make a really great documentary about this, and I'm very sorry because it would absolutely smash it, and YouTube would probably love it algorithmically, but I just... on to the next, you know? So take those names. Hopefully I can get the names on the screen or some kind of credit in the description. If you are interested in checking out any of them, go ahead. I would put them 8th. Now we go to 7th place, and I've had a really tough decision between 6 and 7. This was a pretty tough comparison, but in 7th place, I've got Australia. The Aussies, man. Nearly 6th. But 7th place, very good. Now, we have most of it here in Australia. The only thing they don't have is a large amount of good beatboxers. That's what they're missing. That's why they're not higher. But if you kick things off, Tom Thumb, Codfish. The amount they've done with beatbox is insane. If you know a thing about beatbox, you probably know these two, and that says levels. So they're already on the map because of that. They've got the first ever world champion in Joel Turner, a kid that turned up and rolled the world in the first comp. History's there. I think maybe Tom Thumb might have been in that, you know, as well. Anyway, now you drop down and you've still got beastly beatbox. You've got all the guys in the tribe. So you got Rex, Lucrative, and Innovator, and Gale, are super underrated. You've also got the likes of Tarek, the likes of Warlock. Dub Effects, man. Oh no, have I made a wrong decision? Does this need to go up one? Look, the problem is, after them, and give or take a few more, there is a few more. Again, I'm not planning to sit here and name you a million beatboxers from the countries. I'm just saying, after a few more, The level's come down, and it has not had a big, massive spike and rise in quite a lot of years. CLR, another beatbox monster. Yeah. Z-Man. Man, this country. There is some champions. They are good. And you know what? Are they 6th? No. I love what they've done. That 7th place, justified. Now we go into 6th place. 6th place for me, Japan. Could have been 7th, but there's a major statistic about Japan. So, legendary status, a little bit, to be fair. Maybe not as much as Australia, or iconic, impactful. You can say some of those words. Maybe not, but there is one thing about Japan that carries them, and it's how many good beatboxers they have. Like, how many competitive-ish level is absolutely mental. I'm convinced 1% of the Japanese population can beatbox. And with a country of 120 something million people, I'm suggesting that maybe 1 million people in Japan can go. Could be completely wrong with the stat, but seriously, beatbox is famous in Japan. It is a leading instrument. It's over the TV, it's on the radio, it's at concerts, it's everywhere. It's major in Japan. I've had extremely pleasant times going there and doing shows. What a country for beatbox. And I'm telling you seriously, I've gone into the streets and found buskers in Japan that are competitive level. And I'm not even sure they're considered that in Japan, but they really are. Like this. There's thousands of beatboxers in that country that can do stuff like that. And that ain't the easiest thing ever, you know? So for that sheer factor alone is putting them in the top 10. Then you look at the previous history. You got Afra. You got Show. That was a massive inspo for me in the early days. I loved Show. He came from a kind of similar era to me, but I was super inspired by his style. Then you've got like early day smashers like Etoman, Tatsuaki, Shogo coming in. Man, iconic stuff. And then now you've got the Sarakani boys. You've got Gyro duo. You've got there's many. The list goes on for Japan. Seriously. And then at their higher level, right now, you got to say maybe Kaji, Shogo, the other ones in Sarakani too, you know, Soso, Russi, Kohei, Momimaru, again, Yamori. I really like Ray and Bly Crepsley. Like, the level's high. These are high level beatboxers. Highest level, that's where they're lacking for me. That stops them from being higher, is the top of the top. Yeah. So Japan, for the sheer number of beatboxers, I think they very recently surpassed Australia. Right, now we're getting into it. Can you predict the top 5? Can you predict my top 5? There's 5 countries left, and there's definitely more than 5 good beatbox countries. So we have an issue, don't we? Some have missed out, unfortunately. However, in 5th place, Russia. You do not want to with Russian beatbox in battle. I love the Russian beatboxers. I think they're all monsters. And there is insane beatboxers that come from Russia, but they're not Russian per se. You know, you got like Reaps 1, Decoy. These guys, if I'm not mistaken, are previously, they got their heritage in Russia. But aside from it, Vatang, Tarastanin, Improver, Helium, Basilio, the Mad Twins. And then there's like Major or Pizzicato. Man, they crazy. Sashka. I know my stuff. I just remembered that one. But yeah, and Outcheck and there's a few more, but the main hitters, like, damn. I'm looking at Improver, Vatang, Helium, Taraz, and of course a few more, but like, got Grizzly. But these big hitters are big hitters, man. They are iconic beatboxers, ones that are leading the way, paving the way in some respect. I have so much respect for them, and I'll tell you one thing about Russian beatbox. Power-wise, I'm talking get off the mic and stand in person and hear them beatbox. You'd think I'm Russian. That's all I'll say. You'd think I'm Russian because of that. They are powerful. Specifically, insanely powerful. Vatang. Oh my god. Yeah, Russia was the easiest one for me. 5th place, Inky, another solo beatboxer there. Obviously famous for looping, but man, Russia. yeah, they're above the ones I've said, and they aren't quite the top 4. This was a very easy placement for me, Russia. Oh, what about, what's his name? The dubstep guy, Master Mike. Man, there's quite a lot of Russian beatbox. P.S. Back to Japan, Daichi Hikakin. How can you forget that? Culture and all. I'm trying not to forget stuff here. I just want to tell you my list. Right, coming in at 4th, again, between 3 and 4, bit of a thought process, but I'm very happy with this entire list. Number 4, South Korea. Mad. South Korea, when you think you've got all the sick beatboxers in your head from that country, you're missing them. You're forgetting. It is honestly a big pool of great beatboxers. You got beatboxers, good beatboxers, great beatboxers. They are one of the kings of great beatboxers. Like, where do you start? It's not quite clear who's the best Korean beatboxer, because if you asked me Japan, I'd probably say Kaji right now. If you asked me Australia, you know, you got Cobfish, like Footbox Street in Belgium. However, in South Korea, on any given day, I think that you could rotate between about 10 of them. Wing, Hiss, Mighty, 2H, Cloud, Huckle, Steady, Howcat, Big Man. Oh my god. H-Hass. Yeah, man. And that is just one immense bracket. Trust me, there's more. There really is more. There is a lot of musical ones. You've got them. Like, I am not too brushed up. And I will also say, going into this list, I am not right up to scratch with all the new kids. I'll be honest. Like, I haven't followed beatbox as much as I once did. But I know a lot about all eras. And eventually, great beatboxers get heard, you know? But there was these kids in the under 18 category this recently, Wand and Serpent. I think they're both from South Korea. Mad. I've been instructed to mention Sonus, Undo, and Poem, apparently. I've heard of Poem and I've heard of Sonus. I'm not too familiar with their beatbox, but again, levels high. And then beyond that, there is even more amazing beatbox. Their general level is nuts. And yeah, as a whole squad of beatboxers, that is a dangerous country for beatboxing, and their artistry is through the roof. They are so good at songwriting and performing. My question mark to South Korea is how many good ones? Great, I have no question. Top of the top of the top of the top. Subjective. But then below them too, I wonder. And battle. You see what I mean? Like this. We're talking about battling a dog in you to battle. I think that's what's missing for South Korea a bit. Not for everyone, and they have a artistic style, a musical style as well, that really connects in battle. But a spontaneous, freestyle-esque answer, counter, hard attack, beatbox, battling thing, that's probably one gap for them. All right, now going into 3rd place, close with them, 3rd place, the UK. I don't think this is a stranger to people that love beatbox for years, that the UK and the following 2 has been notably the top 3. It has been for a long time, 15 year maybe. I mean, especially UK and another one. But there is a new dog that I have to put my hands up and admit to in a minute. But the UK in 3rd feels right for now. There was a time within 10-ish years where I would have said that UK has been the best in the world. And a good 20 year, you could debate it too. There's been stints where the UK has been first. There is a complacency in my country as a UK man. There is a stagnation that happens. I have to be honest. There's beatboxers in this country that reach, and for some reason, they just stop. Life gets ahead of them, I think, and that's it. Motive isn't the highest. They also don't show themselves that well, but luckily for me, I know the ins and outs of the country and its beatbox level, and it is ridiculous. And if you think it's ridiculous, you're probably wrong until you're in it, because maybe we are the best battlers. Maybe. I'm not down for that corny shit. I am not down for that mimicky. The UK spawns beatbox battlers that know how to get on stage and battle in an original way that can humiliate the opponent. We are the dogs in this fight, right? But there is a problem. how many great beatboxers, I think, is the reason we're not in the top 2. Listen, everything about this is subjective. It's just my opinion. But there is 3 pillars of beatbox in the UK. For me, there is. We have Ballsy, Reaps 1. And I don't know about this one. Some guy, some kind of guy, some multicolored jumper. All right, but with us 3, the 3 of these, this is a pillar that is... You don't want to take that on. If you have me, Reaps and Ballsy stood there ready to battle, yeah, come on then. That's a madness. That's a madness. That is a very iconic trio of historical beatbox moments, if I must say so. Kind of spanning 3 eras a little bit. Like, we've interluded between eras. Like, I've never been in battles with Reaps, but I've duo battled against Ballsy, or we've been in competitions together in his later and my earlier stages. But then Ballsy and Reaps have had their clashes, so it's kind of a ladder, right? But that highest level, we've got it. And if you're talking legendary, iconic history, well, just like the rich history of the UK, in general history, we also have that in beatbox. We were there from very, very early days, like the century. We had Tight giving original tutorials to people around the world that learned beatbox from him in the early days. You've got Faith SFX, you've got Killer Keller, you've got Shlomo. Mad. The history's crazy. And then you've got Beardy Man, who has been a 20-year legend, you know, like iconic history. These beatboxers I've just named have imprinted the difference in beatbox across the years. That's what I didn't feel like South Korea has managed to do as much. You get to modern day, aside from the 3 I mentioned, I also want to say you've got Frosty, Epos, Bass Ventura, and Grey Cloud. And these are also, if you set a world-class barrier or a kind of a great beatbox barrier, these are our representations right now. 7. I did count that South Korea have maybe 10, but the iconic quality inside our 7 makes it go kind of toe-to-toe. But when I really deeped it, the reason we set above that is because of the amount of good beatboxers we have. It is insane. Eisen, Milky, Contrix, ABH, Faith SFX, Hobbit, Zany, Aspie, Beatvox, Suffix, Zach, Kyle, Deity, Redbeard, Pi. The list goes on and on and on and on. It goes on and on. All right. And big up, a load of them are my mates. Well, I'm not biased. I'm very unbiased in this discussion, but a lot of those are my mates. But until I wrote it down, I realized you might not have heard of a lot of the UK beatboxers, kind of like Turkey. You might not have heard of them, but the level's there. You don't want to clash these beatboxers. If they take it seriously, especially. Dangerous. You know, there can be a very iconic or artistic beatboxer that thousands of people have heard of from one country. Little Jack from the UK with 20 followers might beat this guy. That's how it often is in the UK. Levels nuts. Man, ABH, Contrix, Beatbox, my God, all across them. And then the nowadays beatboxers, there's good potential too. Very strong. Right, the moment we've been waiting for. 2nd place right now, the USA. Now, this USA-UK has been its own clash or battle in my head for a while. If you asked me this 5 years ago, the answer is UK. That's the reason, though, that now it's the US. And that's because they don't have one of the problems that I said the UK have. Getting to this level and stagnating. They constantly, every year, spawn a new kid who's this level and then pushes a little bit further, a little bit more on a global scale. The UK, often they're stuck. We're stuck in the UK. The USA go a bit further, and there's just too many great ones. I did write down the UK and South Korea just to give it a comparison to make my decision. I've wrote nothing about America, so just and I know I'm going to miss you from New York. I know whatever. I'm going to miss great beatboxers from America. That's the part of this video. It's spontaneous. But King Inertia, Napalm, Gene, Vocoder, ZVD, Amit, Mark Martin, Chrysalis and Kayla, by the way, Bloomer, historic. Then you've got like Match, New Guy Conundrum, always new guys popping up from America, Pono, Bizkit, Decoy. This is why, because it's just a fun bag. It's just a fun bag of many. If you are a beatbox fan, you're screaming at me right now. I've missed someone, haven't I? Yes, of course I have. That's the problem with America. Villain. That's the problem with America. They just have so many damn great beatboxers. Ballistics. Now, I've got to say, using the measurement of put all the beatboxes in the room and then hear the beatbox to the other ones, that's why they're first. Because if it was really the whole scale, I would argue that the UK has a bit more like iconic or like moment defining, which is tough to say because think of Biz Markie, think of Dougie Fresh. I think of people like Blake Lewis, and then genuinely there's not an objective answer about who made beatbox, but you can say America, you can say the USA kind of defined that as an element of hip hop. Kenny Mohammed, another iconic legendary beatboxer, they do have a history. It was just very individual back in the day. It wasn't a community thing. The community came there later. I remember, is it Rhythmic against Heaven, which is maybe 12, 13 years ago. And I feel like that was maybe the beginning of American, like their national comp. And then you've got this something like UK that already had Zany, Reaps, like Faith SFX, Beardy Man. Like they already had iconic winners of national competitions. So, it's close. I think it's close. If I was going to do anything about this list, I think what I'd do is write down USA beatboxers and UK beatboxers and give you a little bit more of an answer because I'm not 100% convinced of my decision. And yeah, shout out to the insane US beatboxers that I didn't even name yet because I know that I haven't named them all. So yeah, that is narrow. I just think it's too many constant years on the bounce that USA produces incredible beatbox. So yeah, go with that. And then first place. If you're a beatbox fan, you probably know this one. And if you're not a beatbox fan, here's some education for you. The best beatbox country, France. The reason it is France is because they have the whole package. They have icons, they have legends, they have so many great beatboxers, so many good beatboxers, so many battling beatboxers, so many battles that happen. Titles, the highest level is there. It's been there for years and it just doesn't stop. It is France. Straight off the dome, world-class bar beatboxers, Collapse and River, MB14, Wawad, Pac Max, Bucky Blanco, Julard, Alexinho Alem. Oh my god. And I know, again, because of how good the country is, I've definitely missed out on beatboxers. But Eclipse, for history, Mr. Scratch. They have historic beatboxers, Mike Spawn, who created a lot of routines that French beatboxers have gone on to use. That's iconic. They've won GBB comps, they've won World Champ comps, they've won a lot. And they continue to just have so many great beatboxers, constantly created iconic beatbox moments. They are really on top on the whole scale of things. Now, what's interesting, this is all solo, by the way, solo beatboxing, just beatboxing. But what's interesting is if you took like an 8 or X amount from every country and then clashed, because specifically the top 5, if you did that for France, US, UK, South Korea and Russia, it's not clear. It's not clear. It's not clear what would go down. I'm being honest. Like in a theoretical world, you took the best 8 from every country. Now I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't be so confident of that top 5 list. Of course, a native UK man, I'd be rooting for us. And I know we could deal some immense damage, but every country there can. And I'm telling you that. And honourable mention, shout out to you, Canada. If you are a Canadian beatboxer or from the country, you were probably hoping or maybe expecting that could have rolled in. But when I paired it up with Belgium, it was a very tough fight. And yeah. Canada, they have a lot. They have history. Caleb Simmons, Scott Jackson, BBK, Free NFX. They have history, and they have Elise Den. You know, they've got a world-class bar of beatboxers. They've also got, you know, C Fresh, Historic, Vino, High Level, and the list continues a bit more. But there's just not quite enough. They do this stagnation thing as well, like the UK. To be fair to Canada, you do hit a level and then don't progress further. So yeah, that was an honourable mention. So was Spain, so was Mexico, so was Brazil, and a few more, whatever. I can't sit here and say them all. Italy, that was another close one. But there was my top 10. Wow, that's a long video. That's a bit of beatbox information, history, and all that for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Go in the comments, tell me I'm wrong, go on. Where was I wrong? Go, yeah, you're wrong. Whatever. And yeah, those honourable mentions, I just thought about Turkey, what I seen last year. Nah, Turkey's gonna roll them. All right, maybe you can change that. Maybe you can be a part of changing it and building a legacy for your country. You can do it. Anyone can do that. So if you're inspired, go ahead and do it. All right. See you later, everyone. Have a good time. I just ended the video, but I had to come back on just to say shout out to Bulgaria. Whew, the heat's there. Bulgaria is immense. And if it was just for a few more great beatboxers, they'd be there too. Goodbye.